have the president of AEE, the Association of Energy Engineers. So Samira, we welcome you this morning to give us your keynote address and to officially open this conference. Over to you. Karibu sana, as we say, very welcome.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Thank you very much, everybody. Hello, Africa. Hello, the world. It's really an honor to be part of this fantastic conference. To think about it, right now, during this time, it's the most important thing is your mobile, your computer, and the internet world. So the future we will see the development of these tools, and it's amazing what we can do right now, because 50% of my meetings I do it over the mobile. So it's very obvious that there will be a lot of growth in the telecommunication and the computers and the handheld devices. So Africa will witness a lot of development in these sectors. So I advise you to pay attention to these sectors and check your local companies and discover what they need, and be part of this fascinating development. Overall in the world, we are about close to 8 billion, but not all of them, they have mobiles. So we are close to 5 billion with mobiles. Internet users about 4.5, and the social media and all of this development that is happening is about 4 billion. So about 50%. So really, we are going to witness a lot of development, and I advise everybody to be part of this change, because this is very rapid and you will continuously find work. So adapt your skills to be mobile and to so you can communicate it very clearly over the internet. There are right now some drivers, some key drivers that we are witnessing worldwide. Of course, the first, usually I don't put the pandemic, but because changes are happening very rapidly. So really the pandemic right now is affecting everybody, and there is impact on the energy world. Renewable energy is the, I would say it used to be number one, but right now it's number two, because the lowest cost of electricity is now from renewable energy, solar PV and wind. And Africa is Namibia, which is close to South Africa, is number one country in the world in the quality of solar to produce electricity. So in addition, you have all of North Africa, that's part of Desert Tech that is going to happen, and it's already happening actually. So there's a lot of development in the renewable energy sector that you will see in the future, especially because of the cost of technology is going down. The increase in population, you all know we are right now at 7.8, but in 20-30 years, we will be at close to 10 billion. So the 2,000 million people will come to the world, and all of them, they will need electricity, they will need energy, food, water, and so on. So there's a lot of work for the new population. The increased demand, of course, we will see because of the development, increased use of technology, and movement with there will be an increased need in demand. So this will need more energy engineers. They will need more renewable energy. We'll need more efficiencies. Of course, we have the climate change. Climate change is something that happening because of the type of mainly because of the type of energy that we're using, and we have to change that. We have to be very realistic, but there's a lot of political issues associated with climate change, so we might be successful in the short run or maybe not. But in any event, there's a lot of pollution that is happening in the world, and that is creating let's say, health problems, and it's also increasing the spread of the pandemic. So the last two we are not very successful in dealing with yet, but you never know what the future will hold. These are small observations about what the pandemic has done. So the impact of the pandemic was really to hold the activities, and that led to the reduction on oil demand. So it introduced a disruption in the supply chain and stopped a lot of major sectors from work. It also is changing the human behavior very considerably, and we're doing things remotely right now. There's a sharp decline in some sectors. Some really were badly hit, and that we're talking about millions of people in the tourism, in the commercial, and in transportation sector. So there is a lot of change that is going to happen in the very short period of time. And in addition to the sharp decline, there's a sharp increase in the medical sector. So we're talking about all the supply chain, from building hospitals, from training doctors, training all the staff, manufacturing PPE, getting rid of personal protection equipment. So there is all the supply chain, all the medical supply chain has a sharp increase, exponential increase in demand. So that needs to be supported by energy. So energy is actually the backbone for these sectors. So we'll talk about a little bit about the energy status, about clean energy, energy efficiency, buildings, transportation, climate change, and health and education. So this is the IEA, what they think, what is happening, and what will happen in the world in the next, let's say, 10 years. So there's a lot of development in the clean technology, especially hydrogen. The technology is already exists in the world for the past 20 years, and there is a lot of pilot projects in Germany, California, and Japan. But now we're talking about increased and exponential growth in this technology to support the clean energy transition. Of course, we are witnessing a revolution in the electrical cars, and most of the manufacturers are abandoning the fossil fuel cars, are moving towards electrical cars. So in the next 10 years, we will see a lot of electrical cars on the road, and they will need infrastructure to develop to provide the energy supply. So the energy supply was from renewable energy sources, we will be in a very good shape. But if the energy supply is from non-renewable energy, we will be in a bad shape. So the development of clean electricity or electrification of things is something that we are living actually, and it all depends on the cost of technology, and the cost of technology is associated with the manufacturing. China is the leading country in manufacturing of all of the majority, let's say, of clean energy, especially the solar PV. So we will see a lot of development in clean energy development and manufacturing. So there is a growth, especially now after the pandemic. The Chinese government took a decision to double actually the manufacturing of solar PV. So we will witness a rapid growth, and associated with that is the development of technology and increase in efficiency. So we will see a lot of opportunities are coming up. So in installing solar PV where we could not, let's say, in the past 10 years. The levelized cost of energy for few of you who know, is basically the cost of energy. So this chart is showing the sharp decline. And I would like to concentrate on this battery storage. So the battery storage is the next big thing right now. We will see a lot of development in technologies. We will see hundreds of companies, but few of them will be the leaders in this sector. So if we say now we have, let's say, 5,000 companies in developing research or selling battery equipment, I would say 90% of them will close, will shut down in the next 5 years, and only the big few will be able to increase their production, reduce the prices, and take over the market. So the battery storage is very important sector for all energy engineers, and this will create jobs in all the supply chain, from the design, from the manufacturing, from the installation, from to the maintenance, to decommissioning, even testing and testing and commissioning, of course, and decommissioning. So there's a lot of work, a lot of new jobs in clean energy, and you have to realize that, and you have to educate yourself and keep educating yourself in this sector. So we said that we're going to increase, we're expecting an increase in population, but also this the growth will be also accompanied by a decline in the progression rate. So right now we are expecting, let's say, 2,000 million people, as we said, to come to this world. So all of them will need a lot of comfort and a lot of energy. The demand on renewable energy is increasing. Sorry, but I'm a little bit passionate about renewable energy, just because it's the common sense, I would say, factor. But if you're living in a country where there's a lot of resources, by all means use it in a efficient way. But I'm really disappointed with the way that we are using our oil and other resources, because the efficiency of use is very low. So right now, the efficiency of electricity generation is about 30–40%, maybe, unless you are using combined heat and power, then it's a different way, different situation. So really the use of a resource is very important, and we have to use our resources very efficiently and very wisely. So there's a lot of education is involved in this, and we can't just accept the way things are and keep using the resources in a let's say inefficient way. In addition to let's say having the population growth, right now the current status is that we have a huge number of people, close to 1 billion people in poverty, with less than $2 per day, and all of these we have to find ways to alleviate this poverty. And once we do that, they will need energy and they will need the resources. So there's a lot of development happening, and there is a lot of growth in the demand due to alleviation of poverty. In addition, the energy use index, or how much energy we are using per person, will increase. Right now, only, let's say, the first world countries are enjoying the high levels of energy use for different uses, but this will continuously change. So the remaining countries in the world will need more energy. So there is a lot of demand on energy to provide comfort, and that will mean a lot of, let's say, better buildings, better hospitals, better transportation, better services in everything. And the fourth thing is the access to energy. So there's a lot of parts in the world without a very good grid. So you have a lot of distributed people and without access to electricity, and that will change rapidly, like what is happening right now in India, because of the renewable energy opportunities with solar PV. So we are going to change. We will see in the next 5 to 10 years a rapid decrease in the people without electricity because of the availability of off-grid solutions and microgrids. So the off-grid solution and microgrids associated with the low cost of batteries will make a lot of change in the lives of a lot of people, and we will be able to reduce these figures. The clean energy, there are different types of clean energy. I talked about the let's say solar PV because this is like a buzzword right now. We have utility scale and we have decentralized. Of course, utility scale is mainly used by the governments. So if your government in any place in the world is producing electricity, you will find that the majority of the governments around the world are heading towards installing large size projects to inject, to feed in the grid with cheap electricity, because the cost of electricity from renewable energy is right now is the cheapest form of electricity, because the last figure I heard was less than 1.4 US cent per kilowatt hour from solar PV utility scale. So the majority of the governments around the world are moving towards installing large size solar PV projects. Of course, the decentralized, it means that anybody can install solar PV. It depends on the regulations in the country. So if you are, let's say, experiencing high cost of electricity, if you if you are one of the 75% of the countries around the world, that means, let's say 150 countries around the world are importing oil. So if you are one of these countries, that means that your cost of kilowatt hour is high. And once that is the case, you will find the country rapidly moving towards developing renewable energy regulations, so that the consumers can install their own systems and reduce the cost of electricity. So these decentralized systems will pop up in oil importing countries. Energy efficiency, of course, is very important, but it is linked to the development in technology. So there is an engineering aspect, and there's a lot of education associated with energy efficiency, but also there's a lot of opportunities with the big manufacturers. Again, China and the manufacturing countries, they dominate this sector. So as an example, without LEDs, we would not be able to save 90% on the lighting system. So because of the development of technology, the LED technology, and because of the mass production of this technology in China in the past 10 years, right now, the LED technology is the standard, is the new standard. Whereas 10 years ago, it was the CFL compacted fluorescent lighting. So opportunities everywhere. This is just an example of a policy development. So policies in, let's say, oil importing countries, just like this is just an example of Italy. They have a set target to install 50 gigawatt of solar PV by in 10 years. So there's a lot of countries setting up policies to develop and install big amounts of renewables within their electricity grids. Now, there's a report called the Renewable Energy REN 21 Global Status Report, and it gives you everything you need about renewable energy. But I like to just show that all the talk that we are giving about this clean energy and wind, solar, and so on and so forth, it's just a small part of the global energy consumption. So there's a lot of untapped opportunities. And once the cost of, let's say, technology drops, we will have the need, we will see big opportunities. We will need hundreds of thousands and millions of people working in the clean energy sector. Of course, we are not only talking about electricity, we also talk about thermal. So solar thermal is very important. And of course, we have the new kid and the block, which is the transportation. So the solar thermal is important, and heating the water for, let's say, the cleaning and taking a bath in the morning, the domestic hot water or swimming pools or industrial. And there is, of course, the CSP, where you can increase the temperature of a fluid and use it for industrial applications. The transportation we said, and then the power. So there's a lot of development in the power sector to feed in a lot of renewable energy into it. I like to show this figure just because it's an exponential. So because of the trend, so there's a lot of development in the clean energy sector. So I advise everybody to learn about renewable energy. I advise everybody to start using, if you're not already using renewable energy, because it is the future. It is cheap. You have to educate yourself. You have to tell everybody around you about the sector. And with all of this development, we are still really at 27% of renewable energy electricity. So we have a lot of opportunities coming up in the future, especially because of this pandemic and the climate change impact. Solar is at, again, just look at the trend. In 10 years, we went from 23 gigawatt to 627 gigawatts. So this is a double-digit development every year. So I really, if you are an energy engineer, you have to learn about solar. You have to use it in your projects and tell everybody about it. These big solar projects are popping up all around the world. This is 1,500 megawatts in China. This is 1,000 megawatt or 1 gigawatt in India. This is 1 gigawatt in Abu Dhabi. So a lot of space. Deserts are 10. You know, I tell my clients, I tell the students, the engineers, if you, in your facility, each meter square, each foot square can produce electricity, can produce heat for you. And that means you are, you can generate energy, you can reduce your cost of energy, and you can generate clean energy from each piece of, let's say, surface that you have. I'd say surface because I also like to use vertical surfaces. It's not only roofs or car parks, also the vertical surfaces. So please use every surface that you have to generate electricity and reduce your cost of projects. Of course, the wind is very important, but wind really it's dominated by the big players. So unless you're working for one of these major players, you will not have the opportunity to work on this on these big projects. So I understand that there's a small wind sector, but this sector is really small, and the cost of kilowatt hour is higher for the small wind. So the development right now is really very, very impressive in the wind sector, and the big wind companies are providing combined solution wind, solar PV, and storage. So we will witness really a revolution in the wind sector, I would say in the next 5 years, because they will be able to provide dispatchable energy. So it's not intermittent energy that you get only when there is a wind, but this is dispatchable energy covering all your needs 24/7. Once they get the prices for battery storage down, or find a utility scale solution in the place where they will install solar and PV. The offshore wind market is developing a very impressive. So if you have a lot of opportunities, but this is mainly being developed in the European and the US market. So the Europeans actually are developing the US market, but it's very promising right now. It's very promising, and we will see a lot of development. It's just mind-boggling, really. The size of the wind turbines right now, it's about 12 megawatts, and really they will keep growing. So we will see a lot of development in this sector. But again, this is not for everybody. It's just a sector that is dominated by the big players. Hydro energy is very important, I would say, for in Africa as well, and but this is big developments. So this is utility scale and associated with a lot of politics, with a lot of, let's say, financial institutions that they need to dedicate billions or hundreds of millions of amounts of money for these projects. So in addition to the environmental aspects, where you have to cover huge areas of land and destroy the environment. So these are important, but not everybody can do it. Talking a little bit about the energy efficiency in buildings. So about 50% of the energy is used in heating, cooling. So there's a lot of opportunity in every country in the world to start developing their databases and collect information about the different energy use inside buildings. So usually we have heating, cooling, hot water, appliances, lighting, electronics, and some other items. So it will be very good opportunities for the energy chapters to collect data and to develop, let's say, surveys and publish information, and they can be used and improve the energy use in buildings. Right now, really what we're doing is just doing renewable energy plus high energy efficiency and producing more energy. So the concept is right now is that we have net positive buildings. So instead of having buildings that consume energy, we are having buildings that produce energy. So really this is like a transition from the concept of providing energy for buildings, because now buildings can generate more energy than it needs. And why? Just to cover the transportation energy requirements. So right now, your building is providing energy for your building and your transportation. So how can we do that? By super insulation of the buildings during using efficient equipment, efficient lighting, natural lighting, and best energy equipment. The world has, the developed world, I would say the countries with high energy consumption, they underwent a lot of development in the past 30, 40 years. So they kept increasing their thermal insulation in buildings every 5 to 10 years and reducing the energy use index. So I would say that if you have an energy problem in your country, then you need to start moving in that direction as well, because we are doing that as well in most of our projects. So we're moving towards reducing the thermal let's say conductance between outside and inside through using more thermal insulation for the walls and roofs. And then you can develop your own rating systems. For example, this is in California, but you can check the consumption per system and then determine the kilowatt hour per meter square. And these really are nice systems that the engineers and the students, whether a master's level or PhD level or undergraduate level, they can do for different kind of facilities. And then it can be national. So this is like a reference in Germany, where they go from the passive house design. Is maybe somebody of you have heard of this concept, but you know, the concept is to reduce the kilowatt hour per meter square per year. So this is a really the trend or the direction that most of the countries will move towards if they want to reduce their energy consumption. And the transportation, of course, we are moving into electrical cars, buses. So this is one of the, let's say, cars, the electrical cars. We have also electrical, let's say, public transportation, electrical buses, mainly in China, but now it is spreading all over the world. Electrical trains. This is, of course, it's a pilot, and it has a very nice story. So I recommend that you read the story of how they developed this concept, because Gerard, the person with the idea about this, he wanted to develop a solar plane. So he went to the plane manufacturers, and all of them, they rejected. Tell them, oh, you can't travel the world with a solar plus battery storage. But he was sitting with his friends who are from the boat industry. I said, oh, we can do that for you. Let's do it. So the boat designers actually came up with the design for this solar impulse plane that traveled the world using only solar and batteries. Of course, you'll see something like this for the boats as well, but these are pilot. What is more interesting is the Gigafactories. And I am confident, pretty confident, that you will, at one point in time during this, during the next 10 years, you will see a Gigafactory in Africa. Right now, the 4th Gigafactory is opening up in Germany. The first one was in Nevada. The second one was in New York. The third one was in Shanghai, and the fourth one is now in Germany. So I'm definite, because the Africa market is really a booming market. You will see a gigafactory in Africa. So the water and access to water is very important, and there's a lot of technologies that are being developed. So we're using solar hot water collectors with solar PV modules and producing water from the air. So this is a technology that your graduates and undergraduate students can develop pilot projects and then opening up businesses right now. Of course, desalination is very important in the future, and it will be very, let's say, accessible to a lot of people because of the low cost of kilowatt hour from PV modules. So this is a renewable desalination plant in Saudi Arabia, and I am sure that we will see many more plants like it in the future throughout the world. And this is just an idea to cover. If you don't have space, you can also cover your water channels with solar PVs. Really, this is a pilot project in Jordan, but the idea is from the North Europe. So we're taking desalinated seawater, and we're doing desalination, and then treating the water and doing irrigation, and a lot of producing a lot of food and vegetation. So this is a concept, and I'm sure that in the future we will see a lot more. So climate change is happening all over the world, and this is in Petra. This is the second world wonder in Jordan. There's a lot of extreme weather events happening, like extreme water, and the tunnels are being filled with water in a matter of hours, because of the extreme heavy rains. So basically, NASA is looking at the world, and they have plenty of scientific satellites studying different environmental climate change, and they are really helping everybody around the world. And I'm seriously, recommending that you keep tab of what's happening at NASA, so you can understand closely what is happening around the world. So there's a lot of pollution, a lot of melting of the ice, a lot of carbon dioxide, and a lot of heat that is happening. So these polluted cities, mainly in the big cities, especially China, the thing is that they didn't care about the pollution in the past, but right now they are moving towards getting rid of these fossil fuel plants, because the pollution also assisted the pandemic. So there is a combined factors over here. So maybe this is my last slide. So just trying to show you that we're reaching to other planets using also solar energy, renewable energy. So this is facing the sun and moving towards others. The health sector is seeing a sharp increase in the energy demand. So we need to keep our social distancing. They're working 24/7 because the space, because of so many restrictions and criteria. So there's a huge demand on personnel, disinfection material, and medical personnel. So the backbone to operate all of this is energy, and really energy engineers are needed at every step of the way. So I advise you to keep an eye on these jobs. The education is changing as well. The schools and universities, now we're doing it online, and we're doing the exams online. So there's a lot of opportunities to develop these curriculums and exams for the energy engineers. And the upskilling is also very important, and the sustainability is really the number one, because without sustainability we cannot proceed, and it has to be economical. Economy is part of sustainability, but I mentioned economy again because really we are experiencing a big transition in the job market, and that is affecting the economy. So we have more freedom right now, and we have to take this opportunity because of the increased internet connections, computers, and online distancing. So really you can do basically whatever you want. So in conclusion, there's a lot of transition that it's happening, and it is affordable and sustainable. And I recommend that you expand your skills. So you have to sharpen your skills and learn something new every day, and make change in your sphere of influence. So stay positive, stay happy, and make sure that you, because you are leaders in your community, because you are the ones that everybody is looking up to, make sure that you have a positive impact on your sphere of influence. Electrification of things this is the future. Please learn more of everything you can about electrification of things. The reduction of pollution and climate change is something that is strongly advocated by the policymakers, European mainly, but this will spread, I'm sure, once we have more extreme weather events. Electrification of transportation is happening because of the manufacturers are moving towards electrification of their production lines. And renewable energy, hopefully it can be grow at with your help, with your knowledge, it can grow in your communities to provide the demand and provide better opportunities. The stable return of an investment, really, you don't have to keep spending money on energy because the renewable energy systems are providing energy for 25 years or more. And I really recommend that you spend a lot of time on capacity building in all of these energy sectors, and it will create a lot of jobs. Lastly, I thank everybody, the organizers, Caroline, Chris, and wishing you all a unbelievable success. Thank you very much.